What's going on, everybody? It's AquaLeaderJesse, and today we're going to be doing some reaction content, which I don't do that much anymore, but I kind of want to start doing some more because there's some things I'd like to be able to discuss, and I find this to be the best way to do it. Today we're doing Some Call Me Johnny. Man, you can't see the title at all, but it is the SGB review of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. I am an avid Some Call Me Johnny viewer, have been for almost as long as I can remember being on YouTube. But I don't recall if I've seen this video or not. I know I've seen his Johnny Versus video on it, but I kind of wanted to go back to the start of the SGB review days, at least which ones are still available. I don't know if some of them have been taken down or not. Just kind of work my way through them and discuss them then, because then we can get to his later videos on them and see how his opinion changes. And to start things off, we're going to Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood, which is one of very few Sonic games I actually have not played. I'm a very avid Sonic fan, but I didn't have Sonic Chronicles as a kid, and I just haven't gotten around to picking it up. I've played almost every Sonic game in existence, but that's one that I have not. That one, Sonic Shuffle, and then like Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, the arcade game, stuff like that, are what I haven't played. But I've played like every other spin-off in the past 20 years or 25 years, except for this one. But anyway, enough talking. Let's get into it.
Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood for the Nintendo DS is a good game.
All right, so that's off. That's a start. Um, while I haven't played this game yet, I know most people do not agree with that take. This game got ripped to shreds.
Was this the Sonic RPG that I hoped for? Well, yes and no.
Also,
Sonic
J-
RPG that I hoped for? Well, yes and no.
Johnny. It is weird seeing Johnny this young. It's weird. Man, time flies, man. Time flies.
For those of you who don't know, Sonic Chronicles is the Hedgehog's first attempt at an RPG game. Like Super Mario
The audio quality hasn't aged the best either, but you know,
RPG was for Mario. It was developed by BioWare, a company known for
it's crazy how a game developed by BioWare, and they weren't even, I don't think at this point in time they had fallen off as many would say they have now. Because this is still during like the Mass Effect era, isn't it? I don't know what happened to the yeah, because Dragon Age Inquisition hadn't even come out yet either. Man, what happened to BioWare? Especially during this one specific game.
such acclaimed titles like Baldur's Gate and Mass Effect. Knowing this company would be responsible for Sonic's first RPG had a lot of Sonic fans excited.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't it? It's just like when uh, getting Square to make a Mario RPG, getting BioWare to make a Sonic RPG. That's like, especially at the time, BioWare was probably the best studio you could really go to for something like that. Like BioWare is the only one that could really, aside from Square themselves, that they could really go to for something like that. It just makes sense. You would have thought it would be a slam dunk.
Myself included. To summarize the plot, well, Knuckles has been kidnapped and the Chaos Emeralds have gone missing. Sonic, being the hero he always is, decides to go and rescue him.
I will say I do know like of the general plot and stuff. I know stuff about the game. I've seen people talk about it several times because I'm very in with the Sonic community, so I can know that kind of stuff. But I just haven't actually played it.
Along the way, he'll receive assistance from his friends that joined/plagued his past adventures, such as Tails, Knuckles after rescuing him, Amy, Rouge, Shadow, Big the Fat Ass, Cream, E123 Omega, a new character named
Big out here catching strays. What?
Shade, and even Dr. Eggman joins their party for some time. You find out later that a group known as the
So
Marauders, or the Dark Brotherhood as some would call them, is responsible for the mentioned crimes. The leader of the group, known as, well, I can never get his name. It's spelled IX, but for future purposes, I'm just going to call him Ziggy. Anyway, Ziggy is the leader of the Dark Brotherhood and wants to use the power of the Chaos Emeralds and Master Emeralds in order to bring his world, the Twilight Cage, into Sonic's world, where he will then conquer it. After bitch slapping him around in the middle of the game, Ziggy decides to retreat into the Twilight Cage, where the second half of the game commences. It's around this time that we discover that Ziggy and Shade are
Okay. Also, I hate that this game got made not canon because of complicated. Shade and so many other characters from this game, I think could be like, regardless of the game they're in, could be so cool for Sonic and the Sonic lore. I hate that it's been decanonized.
Are actually echidnas. No, not those, but like Knuckles. It turns out Knuckles isn't the only one of his kind after all. But moving along, Eggman and Tails build a ship that is able to take the gang into the Twilight Cage, but Eggman decides to stay, and you can already see where that's going. After countless
Nope.
missions,
This was during that era, the smoke alarm era. You heard the smoke alarm go off.
and Chaos Emerald hunting, the gang finally manages to confront Ziggy in his lair, where he is promptly handed his ass on a silver platter thanks to Supersonic. With the Chaos Emeralds and Master Emeralds rescued, the gang heads back to their world where they find out that Eggman used the time given to him to effectively take over Sonic's world. At this point, the game ends. Yes, I'm not kidding. That's where the game ends. On a cliffhanger. The funny thing is that Tails and Sonic break the fourth wall and tell us, the gamers, to wait for episode 2. That about sums up the plot. Bravo, BioWare. Anyway, the entire game is touchscreen based. You don't use the
Oh, I forgot about that with the ending. To be honest, yeah, they I guess makes sense. A part of the reason that it would at least make sense to decanonize it because, like, what the hell happened after that, and like, when would this be timeline wise? With if like there's a cliffhanger ending like that, but I'm also just upset they never gave it another shot. Like, I know this was rough, but I don't think it was unsalvageable. Like, I think the concept of a Sonic RPG people are still excited by. I know you're not moving fast or whatever, but like, some of us are into Sonic for more than just it being fast. For the main games, yes, that's what I want. But like games like this where you play with all the characters, you can use their abilities in stuff like their stats. Like Sonic having a ridiculous speed stat would make sense.
D-pad or the other 4 buttons. You may use the shoulder buttons depending on your preference, but they're completely optional. Now, as a DS game, this should be expected. It works out most of the time, but it can be tiresome after a while. You navigate through the overworlds by dragging the stylus across the screen, causing whoever you're controlling to move in that direction. Again, it can get tiresome, and you'd wish they put an option to use the directional pad. There are no random encounters like some RPGs.
I've always, I don't know why, but I've always hated games where you, especially like on PC, where you use the mouse to move, like clicking on spaces. It irks me. Rather have direct control than to tell the person where to go. Those are two different things.
And enemies are completely visible on the field. As such, it's your choice to fight or to completely avoid your enemies altogether. Although being an RPG, you're going to have to fight to level up eventually. Battles are turn-based. You choose what
Also, this is not in focus. I know he didn't have a capture card or anything at this point in time, obviously, but that's not even in focus, dude.
actions you want to take and watch as your allies deliver some whoop-ass to your enemies. Specials go under the name of POW moves. They can range from powerful single attacks, status boosting, or team attacks, like those seen in Chrono Trigger. However, executing POW moves is not as simple as choosing them and watching the characters execute them. Upon beginning the move, you need to input certain time commands, which varies between hitting a circle 8 times before time runs out, hitting a circle as the ring closes in on it, or dragging a circle to a specific point with another circle. It's confusing to explain, but if you played Elite Beat Agents, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking
I have not played Elite Beat Agents, but I know what it is.
about. The same rules apply when an enemy is executing a special move. By inputting the proper command, you can completely avoid the attack, but mess up once and, well, you live. Overall, it works, but it can become extremely repetitive after some time, and it can become extremely frustrating when you screw up a move, especially the healing moves. Mess up once and it completely fails. Not only that, but this system forces you to keep your eyes on the screen at all times. You can't just input a move, take a sip of your drink, and think it'll be okay like other RPGs. No.
Hmm.
You have to be ready and willing every second, for it could determine whether you'll live or die.
To be fair, he's talking about how this is Sonic's version of Mario RPG, and the big Mario RPG franchise is even more so than Super Mario RPG, but with Paper Mario, and the whole shtick is having to do stuff during your turn-based move.
That's not saying you'll die a lot. This game is very easy, and I mean very easy. There are just some special moves in the game that completely break it, Bosses are just as easy as regular encounters, and some characters have moves that are just ridiculous. I'm looking at you, Cream. In fact, I've beaten most bosses just using Sonic and Amy's fastball technique and Cream's refresh. The other characters just chipped in a little bit. Also, the
Oh, Chip. That's what chipped in, not your smoke alarm.
game is very linear. It is impossible
Linear. Linear.
to get lost in this game. If you manage to get lost, then you're not playing Sonic Chronicles. You're probably playing Metroid. The game mostly consists of going from point A to point B. You're told where to go through dialogue, and then it's marked on your map with a star. And if for some reason you still don't get where you have to go, you have a mission log that tells you what just happened and where to go next. Also, because
Okay.
it's so damn straightforward, there's little to no exploration. Sure, there are a few sides.
That's disappointing to hear. Um, Especially in like an RPG. In with RPGs, I'm always somebody that like explores, checks every nook and cranny for items, currency, and all that. So it sucks to hear that you can't actually go exploring for stuff.
Side quests, but they're mostly the typical get this around the corner, bring it back, and I'll give you a petty award for it. It can become quite boring. There are item shops, but the only thing you're going to ever need to buy are healing items. There are weapons and armor that can increase your stats, but the boosts are so pathetic that I didn't even bother with them. And you know what? The game was still a breeze. There's also Chow in the game. Yes, those cute and adorable little bastards are back as relics of a sort. You can equip them to characters to get all kinds of effects like adding the fire element to your attacks, to completely eliminating the need to input commands for PAL moves. Again, broken. Of course, you have to find them first, but that's not the point. It's not like they're well hidden either. The visuals are quite nice, the backgrounds are beautifully hand-drawn, and the character models are nicely rendered.
I always thought that visually it looked fine. I don't remember if people think it, if like in general people hate it, because I know this is not an opinion of his that's stayed the same over the years. Um, but at least in terms of the game as a whole. But visually, I always thought it looked fine. But I also thought Sonic Heroes looked fine, to be honest. So I think Sonic Heroes looks great, actually. People say it looks like plastic. I think the colors and everything look great in it. It looks very pleasant. Doesn't really bother me that people are shiny.
So it's a bit rough around the edges. While some characters look cool, some characters just look butt fugly. Sound effects are
But
quite nice,
fugly.
chock full of sounds from past Sonic games. But I don't think that's an excuse to use them for battle effects. Some of them come off as really lame because of inappropriate timing. Though the sounds are cool, the music is absolutely fucking terrible. Does this sound like a
Oh,
DS game?
oh man, I'm glad I stopped it beforehand. I forgot. I did know that this soundtrack was awful, which is especially bad because Sonic has one of the best reputations for music. Like, for the mainline Sonic series, no matter how bad the games got, the soundtrack stayed consistently amazing throughout the entire franchise's history. Pick all like the bad games you want. Sonic 06. You're still pulling out there with Dreams of an Absolution, His World, All Hail Shadow. That's just the vocal tracks. You got like the Kingdom Valley music and oh my gosh, there's so much good music in that game. Or you go over to Sonic Forces, you got again you got vocal tracks like Fist Bump and more so Infinite, and you got all the I remember really liking Meteor Canyon. Is that Mortar Canyon? Is that the name of it? I like the track in that one, and literally any of the bad games. Like Sonic Lost World, Windy Hill Zone has a super iconic track. There's great music in all of the Sonic games. And the hear that this side game right here had bad music. The only Sonic game I could think of that didn't have a great soundtrack was like Sonic Boom, and even then it's just generic. But this, I've heard some of this, and this is terrible. So that's a real sin.
Game? No, it does not.
Yeah, it sounds like garbage.
It sounds like it was made for the sake of Game Gear. The only exception
Don't insult the Game Gear like that, man. Even the Game Gear had better stuff. I've got a Game Gear, and I've got Sonic games on it.
is the battle themes. They're okay.
I like the beats they got going on there, but I don't think there's enough going around it to really wrap it around to being good, though.
But for everything else, it's a complete mindfuck. And you know what? People claim that they're remixes of old Sonic tunes, but let me tell you, this doesn't sound like this. Overall, Sonic Chronicles is not the game I was hoping to be, but it's an enjoyable one altogether. The battles are good when you execute them well, the dialogue is top notch, and I think it's only a sample of what BioWare has in store for the Hedgehog. But that's not to say they shouldn't work out the kinks, like implementing button controls and a better battle system, and for the love of all that's sacred, a better soundtrack.
So is this the 17 years ago? So that would have been 2009. So yeah, this must have been when this was new, or at least close to new.
But with all that said,
I don't remember
I'm
what year
Johnny
this
of the
came
Super
out,
Gamer
but I
Brothers. Have a good night, everybody.
was somewhere around here, wasn't it? Okay. There's nothing else answered in here, right? No. Okay. Well, that is SGB review of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Yeah, that is a take. That is a take for sure. Oh yeah, this video you can even see. I guess I watched partway through of it at some point in the past few years at some point. But I have seen Johnny versus Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood before. I promise I've seen all the way through. I go through his Sonic reviews multiple times a year usually. But yeah, I think we're gonna go through some more of his stuff. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AquaLeaderJesse, where all of my videos are recorded first, but they will always appear on YouTube afterwards. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one, and goodbye.